All right, I'll go ahead and break the silence here. Thanks everybody for signing on. I think we'll kind of go ahead and get things rolling, and as anybody else joins in, we can kind of get them added in. We are recording this too, so our intention is to be able to share kind of a cleaned up version of this presentation or webinar, if you will, for anybody that wasn't able to be on tonight or wants to take a look at it later or whatnot there. So that resource will be there for your units. Lisa is joining us tonight. She was involved in kind of creating this curriculum with the new program and certainly knows a lot more of the detail and also the philosophy behind it than I do. So I'll kind of go ahead and turn it over here right off the bat. My one contribution I'll say is we do have a bunch of the new books now in the Scout Shop. They just showed up recently. I believe we have Lion through Bear, and the Weeblos and Arrow of Light are coming soon. So that resource is there. Wanted to throw that out there.
All right, thanks, Matt. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Wiley, and I am the immediate past chair of the National Cub Scouting Committee. I stepped off as chair about 2 years ago, but I stayed and I'm the volunteer project manager to get these updates across the finish line. I was really happy to hear Matt said that you guys have the lion, tiger, and wolf and bear books in the scout shops. Weeblos and Arrow of Light, like he said, should be there soon. They've been at the print shop. Other people have them. I don't know if you follow any of the Cub Scout Facebook group, but there's been a lot of chatter about the program out there on that. So as we go along tonight, I would love to answer your questions, address your comments and concerns as we move through this presentation tonight. So I'll be stopping every once in a while. And Matt, if you could monitor the chat, I would really, really appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We started our journey, like I said, about 5 years ago when I was chair of the National Cub Scouting Committee. They asked me to take a look at the handbooks, and see if there were any updates that needed to be addressed. I come from a little bit of a different background. I didn't think that the people at the table really needed to be making those changes. I thought that the changes should come from the customer, which are the Cub families that are actually experiencing the program at the time. So we spent about a little over a year doing a number of surveys. We sent out multiple surveys to families, to Cub masters, to committee chairs, and of course, den leaders. We really wanted to hear from them, kind of asking them some questions about what they liked, what they didn't like, how they were using the program, how that was working for them. We also looked at the data from Voice of the Scout, and we looked at sales data. And what we came away with is we really needed to make the program fun for the kids. That was our number one goal, fun for the kids. It needed to be simple for parents to understand and easy for our leaders to deliver the program. Because think about this, the vast majority of kids that are registered in the BSA join in Cub Scouting. And what do? Immediately, we ask their parents to be a den leader. So we're leaving their fate in our least ready set of volunteers. So we really needed to make sure that this program spoke to our parents and our families and that it was easy to deliver. So what we found were 4 problems. So I'm going to go over these 4 problems in a little more detail, but on the surface, this is what we found with our families that were participating in the program. They didn't understand Bobcat. It was very different. We go in, we tell them that they do a rank for every grade level except Bobcat. And then we have the same requirements for Bobcat for a 1st grader as a 4th grader. And oh, by the way, when you're a lion, you don't need to do Bobcat. So you don't do it upon entry of the program if you joined as a lion and you ranked up to tiger. We heard a lot about adventures. Anthony Berger is the national director of the National Cub Scouting Program, and he is a math major. So he sat down and he did an algorithm to see how many different ways you could get to rank in the Bear handbook. And there were over 10,000 unique ways to get to rank. That's complicated. Our families, because we cannot rely on legacy families, and we shouldn't be relying on legacy families. That what I mean by legacy is people who have children in the program and the adults actually experience the program. People don't understand Webelos because Webelos is a 2-year program. It is not a 1-year program. I actually was sitting in a meeting one day and I got a call from a district executive who was insistent that 5th graders were called Arrow of Light. Well, in the current program, they are not. They are called Webelos. It's just, we spend a lot of time. We have a 15-minute virtual roundtable video just on explaining the Webelos program. And if we need to do something like that, then it's way too complicated. And we also found that awards weren't doing what we originally intended for them to do. Awards are set up for a desired outcome, and people were either choosing not to do that particular activity or they were going to do it anyway. And I actually had a very smart person, a very smart den leader on the National Cub Scouting Program, the National Cub Scouting Committee. And he said, if it's not in my direct line of sight, I'm not doing it. And direct line of sight is adventures. So we sat down, we noodled that, and this is what we came up with. We came up with 6 required adventures across all the ranks and 2 elective adventures. So to get to rank, you have 6 required adventures and 2 elective adventures. That's for every Cub Scout rank. The required adventures have the same topic across every single program year. One of the things that we found when we investigated the program is that 4th grade Webelos did not have a citizenship component, and Bear did not have a personal fitness component as part of their required adventures. The aims of the BSA are character development, leadership development, personal fitness, and citizenship. We need to be covering all 4 of those aims in our required adventures, and we were not. So you see here on the chart that we've got an adventure for character and leadership, which are 2 of our 4 aims. And we put those together because for developmentally, for these young kids, they lead by their personal character, by the choices that the individual choices they make. They lead by example. We have personal fitness across all the ranks, and we have citizenship across all the ranks. What makes our youth development program unique is that we get the kids outdoors. So you see an outdoors required adventure there. And then we have a component for personal safety, which is very important to our program. And then we have something called family and reverence. And then there's the 2 elective adventures, and there's a wide variety of those, and we'll share more about those in a few minutes. So I want to stop here for a minute. Does anybody have any questions over the new structure with our 6 required adventures and our 2 elective adventures for rank?
Hey, Lisa, no question. Just, I think this makes a lot of sense. It streamlines a lot of things, and I kudos on the job you've done so far. We'll see how it works out, but so far, I know I'm really happy with where it's looking like it's going. Thanks.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. If you notice, one of the things is if you have a multi-rank den, you should be able to deliver the program a little bit easier because for the required adventures, you have a common theme. So, and I agree, you know what? We'll see how it works. I am under no illusion that this is the end of the changes, but we're going to roll it out. We'll gather feedback for a couple of years, and then they will probably make some tweaks to it. So we also have common activities across the required adventures. So again, this addresses those times where you have a multi-rank den, or I just want to make sure that you get the activities across, the point across of the required adventure to the kiddos. So for Lion, on the outdoor required adventure, they are asked to take a walk outside. Tiger, they take a walk. Wolf, they take a walk, but it's just a little bit longer. Bear, they go on a 1 mile walk. And by the time they get into 4th grade, we ask them to go on a 2 mile walk. So again, this is just one example of we have a common requirement across all the adventures for a required adventure. All right, so let's talk about the bobcat problem. Like I shared earlier, our new families that have never experienced the Boy Scouts of America before, they're unfamiliar with the Cub Scout program, the Bobcat rank was a barrier to them to understanding what our program was about. So instead of doing Bobcat once, you're doing Bobcat every single year. The topic for it is character and leadership. We ask that this be the first required adventure that the kiddos do. We know that the program year starts in June, and during the summer, the National Cub Scouting Committee is suggesting that you spend your time on elective adventures so that when school starts and a lot of our packs start kicking off with everything that they want to get done for rank advancement, you'll be ready to go with the Bobcat adventure. The Bobcat adventure it gets the kids learning about each other, has some activities for them to get to know each other. And then there are age-appropriate activities for the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Also, as part of the Bobcat rank is the How to Protect Your Children from Child Abuse, that parent's guide that's stuck inside the handbook that we're all supposed to do every single year. That's outside the adventure program right now. We brought that inside the adventure program, and that's part of the Bobcat rank, which is why we asked that the Bobcat required adventure be done first. Remember when I said that this den leader said to me, everything needs to be in my line of sight, and my line of sight is the adventure program? What you'll find as we go through tonight, everything is part of the adventure program. There is nothing to get to rank advancement for the kids that's outside the adventure program. Bobcat has a new look. There will be belt loops for lion, tiger, wolf, and bear. Webelos will have a diamond with a green border on it. An arrow of light will have the arrow with the brown bordering. And these should be available in your Scout shop too. My understanding is they're recalling all the Bobcat rank badges, and they are putting out all the new recognition insignia. One of the questions I get quite a bit is, well, what about my Bobcat ceremony? You should still, if your pack does a Bobcat ceremony, I highly encourage you to continue that tradition. But the nice thing is now everybody gets to participate in the Bobcat ceremony. All right, any other questions, comments, or concerns about the Bobcat and the redo of the Bobcat?
This is James again.
Yeah.
We have winter comes early, right? And we start our scout year right when school does. So one of the first things our pack always tries to do is get outside and do that hike, do that walk adventure right away. So I think understanding that some of the Bobcat stuff is designed to get the kids to know each other, I think helps me think about how we would do that maybe as like on one of our join nights. Maybe it's a way to knock some of those things out. But yeah, because I said, we try and get out early.
I get it. I get it. Believe me, I understand. I'm in Arizona, so I'm on the opposite end, right? We try to get outside like in December, January, because August is still too hot around here for the kiddos. But I would, just so you know, the Bobcat Adventure is designed to be done in one den meeting. You should be able to knock it out in less than 60 minutes. I see a Noah.
Yeah, that was something you just answered my question with the badge and where that's gonna go. My daughter just started Cub Scouts den leader this year, and we got the badge and questioning where that goes on the uniform. So a little more direction with that would be nice.
Well, and I'm going to address the way to put the new rank badge, to put the rank badges on. I'll be addressing that a little bit later. So keep that thought under your hat. Right, let's talk about the nest of adventures. This is an example of a 4 requirement adventure for Wolf Code of the Wolf. There's only 4 requirements here. It takes 2 full pages to lay out the requirements. And then you've got, like over here, you've got number 3, complete one of the following. So you have choice A, B, or C. But look under A, you've got 5 choices under A. It gets very, very complicated, and we don't need to make it that difficult. So this is the same adventure with the requirements updated. 1, 2, 3, 4. What we did is we worked with educational experts, and we focused on the desired outcome. So the requirements tell you what to do. We have a whole separate place to help you figure out how you want to get there, how you want to do that. That's part of the den meeting resources. But the requirements themselves for every single adventure just give you what we want you to do. It's a simple statement. It's typically just one sentence. So when we wrote these, we sent them out to our den leaders and our families participating in the program, and we asked for feedback. Because it really, again, doesn't matter what I think or what anybody else in the National Cub Scouting Committee thought. What mattered is the people that were actually delivering the program. And I will share with you that we wrote the Bobcat adventure and we wrote the personal safety required adventure, and we sent those 2 out for feedback first. Because what we wanted to do was we didn't want to make some decisions and apply them to all of the adventures and then find out that that wasn't working for us. So we did Bobcat and personal safety. We sent it out, and let's just say people were not happy. They had a lot to say and none of it was positive. So we went back to the drawing board, and that's where we came upon, we just need to make a simple statement with the requirement of what the desired outcome is. So after we rewrote Code of the Wolf, this is what we got. We got 46% totally agree that the requirements were age appropriate. Another 42% felt that they agreed with that. I'm like 88% people like the way the requirement is written. I'm good to go. One of the things we also asked people was, how long do you think it's going to take to do the adventure? And our sweet spot is 1 or 2 den meetings. That's it. That's the attention span at that particular age level. Anything more than 2 den meetings and we were out. We've got to do something about the requirements. One of the things that we also did with the adventures to help our Cub Masters who were screaming, please help me, run a pack meeting, is that we have elective adventures that are across all the ranks. So instead of doing cycling just in 1st grade, we have a cycling adventure across to every single rank. instead of just going fishing, I think that was in wolf, bear. Anyway, it's across every single rank now. We also added swimming. In addition, you see here an elective adventure for the Pinewood Derby and or the Rain Gutter Regatta called Race Time. One of the things that we know all of our packs do is they have some type of Pinewood Derby and or Rain Gutter Regatta. So why not make that an adventure? Again, I'm going to say it a lot tonight. Everything is part of the adventure program now. So here you can find this slide online. This is a list of all the elective adventures that are now available. There are 16 elective adventures for Lions. There are 16 elective adventures for Arrow of Light. That's because those are shorter program years. Kindergarten Lions do not start until school starts, and our Arrow of Light kids are done early in the program year. First grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade, they have 20 elective adventures to choose from. The lighter colored tiles are adventures that already exist, but all of them have been revisited and the requirements updated to focus on desired outcomes. The medium colored tiles are brand new elective adventures. So you can see the National Cub Scouting Committee was really, really busy. And there at the bottom, the darker colored tiles, those are the range and target sports. And so those are currently awards, and they are now going to be adventures. And we worked with the Shooting Sports Committee and we updated those. Your shooting sports people should have the updated delivery information. While the range and target sports are listed in the handbook, we do not put the requirements in the handbook because those do need to be done at a district or council sponsored activity. So any questions, comments, or concerns about elective adventures from what you see here? Laura.
I really appreciate this part of it. I was really excited when I heard about these changes happening because just like you were saying, the fishing adventure, for instance, was only bears. And it's like, well, everybody else likes to go fishing too. Why can't they earn something? So I really, really love that you guys streamlined it across all the dens. And that also makes weekend adventures easier to be able to plan those. So thank you for all your hard work here. This is great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. We did think about this, and one of the things you'll see is there's an adventure here called Let's Camp, and it's across every single rank. We moved camping in as an elective activity, and what you'll see in our den meeting resources is that we actually give you other adventures that you could do while you were camping. So that could be like what Laura talked about, could be fishing. It could be, there's one called Math on the Trail where the kids actually learn to do math on the trail. So there's all sorts of ideas that you could do while you're actually camping. Because we all know that when we take kids somewhere, if we don't have something for them to do, they will find something to do themselves. And it may not be the most constructive thing. Okay. All right, let's move along. Arrow of Light. This is in response to the Webelos problem. So Webelos right now is a 2-year program with a single handbook for the 2 years. Many of our units and councils called the 5th grade, they call it Weeb 2, or they called it Arrow of Light. There was always a discussion I saw on Facebook about when do the fifth grade Weeblos, which is what it's called right now, actually, when can they get started? Do they have to wait until the new program year? And then what we heard from the National Scouts BSA committee is that they didn't feel, they wanted something that would help the kids transition into a troop. And we did have, in the current program, we have one required adventure called the Outdoor Adventurer that is focused on getting the kids ready for a Scouts BSA troop. But that's just one adventure. And a lot of that is duplicated when they duplicated in the troop program. So some Scoutmasters were like, oh, you already did this in Cub Scouts, so that's okay, I'll just sign off on it. Other Scoutmasters wouldn't do that. It was really, really complicated. And then, of course, the parents didn't understand how a troop works. Advancement works very differently. It's youth run. We needed to do a better job of getting information out to not only the kids, but the adults also. So that's why we've pulled out Arrow of Light to be its own separate rank. So you will now see Weeblos is fourth grade only, Arrow of Light is fifth grade only, and they will have separate handbooks. So if you have kids that are currently in fourth grade and they've finished up their adventures for the Weeblos program, they should focus on elective adventures that are going to be dropped from the program. That's what we're suggesting to keep them busy right now. There's a list. If you just do Cub Scout updates, you can find that on scouting.org, and you can find a list of what's going to be available and what's not going to be available. The big change here is this be active for 3 months and be active for 6 months. That's going away. There will be no more tenure. Noah, you had a question.
Yes. So you're talking about preparing them for the troop. Is there anything from a rank standpoint here for Arrow of Light where they have to rotate through a position of leadership? Thinking about the patrol method for the troop, not necessarily calling it the patrol method, but doing something similar to prepare them to get to that point.
Awesome question, Noah. And yes, we do. In the Bobcat rank, they are asked to elect a patrol leader. And so we actually have some activities around being a patrol leader, creating what you think the patrol leader should and shouldn't be doing. We are very clear that the adult den leader is still in charge, but we introduced the concept of a patrol leader. We also, throughout the handbook, as appropriate, we talk about the kids being part of a patrol. So all of that is included.
Thank you.
You bet. Here is what the Weeblos handbook looks like, and then the Arrow of Light handbook. So in the Arrow of Light handbook, you will also find information from the Scouts BSA handbook. And what I mean by that are exact pages in the Scouts BSA handbook are duplicated in Arrow of Light to get the kids ready for the Scout rank. They cannot start working on the Scout rank until they've officially crossed over, but we're providing the information in this book so that they see what they have to get prepared for. They know what they're supposed to be doing. And we also provide some information on the patrol method and on how advancement actually works in the Scouts BSA troop to get the kids and the parents kind of prepared. We are encouraging the kids to visit, as part of the Bobcat rank, they will be visiting a troop that's been moved into the adventure program. And we're asking that that be done. The National Scouts BSA committee wanted it done like in that September, October timeframe. That's why it's in the Bobcat rank, because they want these kids crossing over in January, February. So uniforms, people like their uniforms. We're recommending, not requiring, because remember, uniforms are a method. They are not a aim of the BSA. We are recommending that fourth grade Weeblos stay in the blue uniform, and then fifth grade, they would move up to the khaki uniform. Now, if you've got a kid going into fourth grade and they've outgrown their blue uniform and they want a tan uniform, that's fine. No, there's no problem with that at all. Our mantra is we're happy you came. Please notice that for the Arrow of Light, there is no neckerchief or hat. Does anybody care to venture why?
No need to wear it when it's only going to be a couple months.
That's right, because where are you going to get a hat and a neckerchief?
And their new troop they're going to cross over to.
That's right, Laura. That's absolutely right. So we were thinking about that.
How about
Right.
belt size?
Pardon me?
Belt size. Looks like you can't wear the belt loops.
Oh, my friend. Belt loops. Oh, on the Arrow of Light.
Yeah.
Here, is that what you're talking about? Yeah,
Yep.
you know what? I don't know. I can't answer that question. Oh, I know what the answer is, because they wear adventure colors.
Gotcha.
They don't wear belt loops in fourth and fifth grade. They wear pins. And so the it's right now called Weeblos colors. We've renamed them adventure colors. And so those go on the side of the uniform here, and that's where their pins go. Right. So our final problem that the National Cub Scouting Committee had to address were these awards. And so we did, this was my most favorite survey. It was the Awards and More survey, and it was chock full of great information, including the question, do you know about the awards? And about 40% of our respondents said they had no idea that awards for Cub Scouts existed. Now, mind you, they're all in the back of the book, but they have nothing to do with advancement. They're just fun things to do. Secondly, of those, that 40% that knew about the awards, quite a few of them were like, yeah, I know about them, but I wasn't going to do them anyway. Or we already do that activity. So the awards weren't incentivizing any type of behavior. So the National Cub Scouting Committee, we took a look at that. We thought about that. We really like the awards. We like the Outdoor Activities Award. Because it promotes camping. We liked the Summertime Pack Award because it encouraged people to do something with their pack year round. So what we decided was we would just turn those into elective adventures. And the great thing about that is elective adventures have what we call an attachment rate. That's how many people actually do them, between 15 and 25%. And awards, a good award was about 1.5%. Noah, you had a question?
Yeah, I noticed on that graph there's nothing about religious awards. And curious about the attachment rate for the religious awards.
You know what? That's a great question, Noah. We did not ask about that because that's a program that the National Cub Scouting Committee was not, we don't own. The religious awards are owned by the individual religious institutions. So we don't know, we don't own that. We don't have any say in how, in the requirements for each of those. But what I will say is that in the new program, the Family and Reverence Required Adventure, you can either do the adventure or earn your religious awards. And in the handbook, we actually provide a QR code to the religious award website.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I like it when I can answer a question. I don't know if you guys remember, but 2 years ago, the National Cub Scouting Committee retired a number of elective adventures. We took a look at the elective adventures, and anything with an attachment rate of 10% or below, we retired. So think about that. We've got these awards here and just 1.5%, an average across 1.5% earn those. So there wasn't a lot of bang for our buck. But again, we like the concepts, the desired outcomes. So this is what we did, is we reimagined these awards into elective adventures. So now the outdoor activities award is the camping, the Let's Camp elective adventure. For Arrow of Light, you have to go camping. You do not have to go camping in Cub Scouts for Lion through Webelos, but you have to go camping for Arrow of Light. The Summertime Pack Award is now called Summertime Fun. Only it starts when you're a tiger, because lions are not part of the program during the summertime. They join after school starts when they're in kindergarten. And so during the summer, you're always rising. So these tigers in the summertime just finished kindergarten and they start first grade in the fall. But this is the simplest elective adventure ever. Do 3 Cub Scout activities in the months of May, June, July, and August. We also have the World Conservation Award, or otherwise known as the Panda Patch. We worked with the international scouting community. Evidently, we're not supposed to be using the Panda Patch. The World Wildlife Fund said we weren't allowed to use it in the United States. So we worked with them. We picked up one of their programs and we call it Champions for Nature. And this particular elective adventure includes a conservation themed service project for every single rank. Knife safety is moving from a required adventure in 3rd grade to an elective adventure, not only in 3rd grade, but 4th grade and 5th grade. If a child is going to carry a pocket knife, they have to complete the elective adventure for knife safety for their particular rank. The whittling chip is being retired. So in 3rd grade, there's an elective adventure called whittling. And it focuses on the pocket knife. It probably looks very familiar to it does look very familiar to what bear claws looks like right now. But you roll up to June 1st, a new program year, they got to go back and they've got to do the chef's knife elective adventure in order to carry a pocket knife or use knives. The chef knife focuses on kitchen knives, so the kids can actually cook. This is one you could probably do when you go camping. And then in 5th grade, it rolls around on June 1st. They no longer can carry or use a knife until they complete the knife safety adventure in Arrow of Light. And this is a combination of kitchen knives and pocket knives. So any questions, comments, or concerns about the knife, what we've done with knives or with elective adventures, or the elective adventures, the awards being reimagined as elective adventures? So in your Scout shop, you should be seeing your brand new handbooks. We have one for these. These are what the covers actually look like. Some of the big changes are we've got the grade level. We have moved away from ages. We have grade levels on the front cover of every single handbook. We've got a place for the kids to write their name. You'll notice that Tiger has been totally redone. What we found is that the current Tiger Youth Handbook wasn't being used. It was not developmentally appropriate. So we reimagined it, and it looks like the Lion program. So in the Lion program right now, the adult partner gets a guide, and then the child actually gets like a little activity book. So we bumped up the Lion activity book. There are 64 pages in that activity book, and we did the same thing for Tiger. You're going to get a 2-pack. You're going to get an adult partner guide, and you're going to get a youth activity book with 64 pages. There is at least 1 page in there for every single adventure. So here's a sample of the Tiger Youth Handbook. This is Bobcat. So they're supposed to be learning about the Scout law. And so we've got these fun little characters. The same gentleman who draws for Scout Life magazine did these for us, but this goes over the points of the Scout law. Tigers in the Wild is the outdoor themed elective adventure. And notice these kids have to do a search for the Cub Scout 6 Essentials. The 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade handbooks have been cleaned up. And so again, here's the requirements, nice and simple, and it doesn't even take 1 page to get them done. They all include a QR code so that it takes them to the Den meeting resources, which I'll be going over in just a minute. You guys were asking about patch placement. So Lion is going back to the diamond. We had a diamond when it was a pilot program years ago. So Lion is going to now be part of the diamond, and you get a full set of diamonds with lion, tiger, wolf, and bear. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Noah.
It's really good to see the parent guide with the tiger. Just based upon my experience with the lion, they missed 4 meetings, which was, 4 requirements, and allowing the parents to follow along at least for 2 years, I think is really going to help, just in general.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was really hard to explain the Tiger program. I don't know if you guys know, but more kids join in 1st grade than any other year in our program. That's where we get the most kids, is in 1st grade. So what do is we introduce them to the program and introduce them to the concept of an adult partner, but yet we don't have a separate adult partner guide like we do for Lions. So to me, it's just another way of socializing that the parent needs to be there with their child. All right, anything else?
No, that's really great, Lisa. That's always one of the biggest things, right, is getting parents to understand that this isn't soccer practice, right? You don't drop them off and then not participate. So I think that's a awesome addition.
Thank you. Oh, and that also, Noah's question also reminded me, I wanted to share with you, for the required adventures, we wrote them so that you could do them with your den, or you could do them at home. some of the elective adventures you have to do in a den setting, in a group setting, but we wanted to make sure that we removed the barrier from the kids of getting things done. Because as Noah pointed out, sometimes they miss a few meetings. And the beauty of our program is that's okay. We don't take attendance. We don't negate your participation because you weren't able to show up, because these kids are really relying on their parents. So we wrote the required adventures so that you could do them in a den setting or you could do them at home. Okay, the last thing I want to share with you is the den meeting resources. There's a lot of chatter on social media about, oh, they got rid of the den leader guide. Well, we got rid of the den leader guide because nobody was buying it. I mean, so we decided, that wasn't the best way to deliver how to run den meeting. We've also heard a lot from people who were like, oh, I took the den leader training, but it still didn't tell me how to run a den meeting. I want somebody to tell me exactly what to do. Because again, like I mentioned, our entry-level volunteer leadership position is a den leader. Those are the people that know the least, right? And an average American family, a 2-parent household these days, both parents are working. They do not have time to be spending hours and hours putting together a den meeting. So the National Cub Scouting Committee decided we would do our best and see what we could do to help with that problem. So the den leader experience, which you may or may not know about, is being retired. The information that I'm sharing with you tonight will be out on scouting.org. It's available to everybody. So what we envision is that the den leader at the beginning of the year, you have a family meeting with all your families there, and people are allowed to select what adventure they will be responsible for, that they will be teaching the kiddos, and they can go get everything they need online. So you would go out here and you would pick which rank you were actually working on. It takes you to an adventure page. Notice it's the colors, right? Lions are yellow. At the very top is the Bobcat adventure. It's a visual cue to tell you that we would like you to do this required adventure first. Underneath it are the other 5 required adventures, and then below that will be listed all the elective adventures. So you would just pick which one of these you were interested in doing, and it brings up this page, the adventure page. So at the top, you've got what the belt loop or pin would look like, that it's a required adventure, gives you a brief description of the adventure. It gives you an adventure safety moment. So if this was the swimming elective adventure, we would have a link to Safe Swim Defense. If it was the boating adventure, we have a paddle sport adventure in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. We send you to Safety Afloat. We have videos on crafts. Who knew? I had no idea, but we do. If it's a cycling adventure, we send you to the cycling page. If it's a fishing adventure, we send you to the fishing page. All sorts of safety information. Then we have a list of the requirements, and underneath that, then we'll have the requirement. We list the requirement, and then these are called activity cards. So these are the 3 activities that are available to complete this particular requirement. Every single requirement has between 1 and 3 suggested activities. You don't have to do any of these activities, because we have some den leaders that are rock and roll and they know what they're doing. They love what they do. They spend a lot of time getting their act together. But we're thinking about all the people that have no idea how to get started. So we're providing them sample activities. When we're all done, when this launches June 1st, the National Cub Scouting Committee will have created over 1,200 separate activities. So you'll see on this, these activities, we've got these icons right here. So what we do is we tell you if the meeting can be done indoor, if it's required to be done outdoor, like a walk, or if it involves some travel. There's an energy level, the supply list. We will give you a supply list and give you an indication of how much prep time you might need to get that particular activity done. We thought about things, we've got activities like when you take a walk outside, we have to build activities if for a rural setting, a suburban setting, or an urban setting. So we'll have 3 different activities, one for each. If the kids are creating like doing like a craft project, we'll have one that's easy, one that's medium, and one that's more difficult. So we didn't, so we're trying to give people a wide variety of activities to choose from. So once you've picked your activity, this is a sample of what it looks like. We have a snapshot, a short description of the activity. There's the icons again. Here's our supply list. We give you directions on how to do it. And then sometimes we'll have these additional resources. So for example, for the wolf rank, when the kids go outside for a walk, we have an activity for an outdoor scavenger hunt. So what you would find, if it says, if this was the activity for while you're on your walk, do a scavenger hunt, we actually provide you a worksheet with a scavenger hunt. And you can print it out and use it, or you can use it as a template to make your own. Again, this will be available June 1st on scouting.org. It's available to everybody. So there isn't a barrier anymore to who can actually be delivering the den meeting. This way you can spread the load. Noah.
Yeah. Are there any instructional videos that come along with any of these activity cards?
Yes. Like for knife safety, we actually just recorded a video on how to teach knife safety and also teaching parents and adults how to be safe around knives. I'm working on, what was I working on? Modular design today. And we're using YouTube videos that are available to everybody. So we'll provide some links to some YouTube videos that we've viewed that we think that we could use with our program.
Additionally, keeping this open to parents that could help teach that den.
Yep.
Are there any like teaching specific strategies available? This question is coming from my wife teaches 1st grade, and she helped me enormously with the lion den and how to keep attention spans and whatnot. Is any of that available as well?
I know that a little bit of that is available in the den leader training. They talk about that a little bit. I will tell you that sometimes the kids in some of these requirements are supposed to share or discuss something. We tried to keep that to a minimum, but what we did is we provide you sample questions, right? So that you don't have to think of those yourself. I do understand your struggle, the struggle, Noah, but we're trying this out, and I think that what you've just said is a really valuable piece of feedback. So I would try this out, and we will be creating a feedback loop with this, and we'll be looking for people to provide us their the goods and the bads and the uglies.
Yeah, the best thing she told me was it can't be longer than 7 minutes.
Oh.
Anything you do, if it's longer than 7 minutes, you're screwed.
Right. Oh, exactly. Oh, exactly. Right. what we do a lot when we're thinking about the program and when we are building these activity cards, what we really keep in mind is we want the kids to be doing something. We want them to be using their hands. We want them to be getting up and moving. We try to really, really limit sit down and talk about something. Because that, as you said, this isn't school. This is supposed to, I mean, school's supposed to be fun, but this is supposed to be really fun. It's learning with a purpose. And so they need to be up and getting out, and they need to be moving because they're wiggly. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
One question, Lisa, that I got was there was some mixed information on if there was a PDF or an online version of the handbook that was part of this, or if they were potentially confused with these activity cards.
They were potentially confused with these activity cards.
Okay.
You know what, to be perfectly frank, we are not releasing a free PDF version of the handbook. And if you see anything online where people took a screenshot and put it up on social media, that's actually, that's a no-no from legal. That's a no-no. I mean, you know what, I'm a volunteer and I'm leading a group of volunteers to get this done. So think about all the work that's gone into this. This is all by your fellow volunteers. But the Boy Scouts of America does need to make some money. And part of making money is selling handbooks. Right? And so, we're a business. We're in the business of youth development. And so we have to make some money. We have to pay for people like Anthony Berger, who breathes and sleeps this morning, noon, and night. So great question, but no, there will not be a free version. They also might have been thinking about, we uploaded the current Den Leader guide for free because it wasn't selling. So we were just like, fine, we're going to upload it because we knew we were going to get rid of it.
I've had a lot of people too happy that the print book is still a big piece of the program, just because that is important, I think, developmentally at this age.
Well, that's interesting you say that, Matt, because I was of the mind that we should just go digital. That's what I thought. And so as part of that awards and more survey I talked about, one of the questions we asked was, do you want a handbook, a soft copy handbook, or do you want it digital, or do you want it both? And people said both, and I can't do both. Also, in that particular survey, just so you know, we asked about belt loops. We asked about recognition pieces and what do you prefer? Do you prefer belt loops? We gave them patches. We gave them pins on hats. And, people had a lot to say about that, but what we heard loud and clear is people don't want to sew. No sewing. So where we landed were belt loops. Noah, you had another question.
Yeah, just a comment on the manual part. As the den leader, it really helped to have that paper, not just for the participant, but for the parent. It was something for them to have, and selling them or having them available with the participant and den leader guide really helped alleviate a lot of anxiety of, I don't know what to do with my child. This leader who quote unquote is trained, to do these activities with my child is telling me I need to do XYZ requirement so they can get the badge. Having something in their hand for them to reference, really, really helped. I'm in the community, there's only 45,000 people in my county, and everyone talks about digital, but in all reality here, it is not 100% available.
Right, right, right. Thank you. You know, always open to feedback, but thanks. All right, anything else? Yes, Laura, you're absolutely right. I'm asking for a print widget on that. So because I know I'm a paper gal too. I like my paper, right? But if I can print it off and then I can write all over it, because I foresee people looking at these activities and saying, ooh, I want to do that, but I want to change it up. And so I can see them highlighting and doing all sorts of things. So, you know, I got to go where the data is taking me, and this is where the data is taking me right now. So this is all data driven. It's not Lisa Land. Lisa Land would look very different. Ask the National Cub Scouting Committee. It would have looked very different. But this I'm super proud of. I think the team did a really good job. All right, well, I would like to thank everybody for your attention tonight. I had some great questions. I hope you got what you needed. If you have any additional questions or comments or concerns after this that you think of, you can reach out to me. Matt has my email. I'm happy to get back to you.